provide more than $100 million to assist school leaders in doing what they are already wanting to do on their own.
Governor Greg Abbott outlining a 40-page plan to make Texas schools safer. Governor making his announcement at Dallas ISD headquarters. Superintendent Michael Hinojosa here with reaction. So what you heard were some broad ideas. We were kind of likening it to, okay, the foundation is poured and the framing is up, but I don't know what this house is going to look like. He called it a specific plan. It was short on specifics.
Well, it's a framework. At least there are some ideas that were put together. Obviously, having the resources, the money, without the legislature in session was the most difficult part. But at least there's a lot of conversations got started.
Yeah, one that the governor and the lieutenant governor, Dan Patrick's in charge of half the legislature, right. So you know he's a pretty powerful guy. They're both talking about this school marshal plan. You've already said, and your board has said, not in Dallas.
No, that's not a good fit for us. You know, teachers get in the business to help kids, and even I've been made aware that about 70% of police officers have never discharged their gun on duty. Yeah. And so that's a very traumatic exercise, and so that's something we're not interested in. But it's permissive, it's not required. And some districts it might be appropriate, but that's not appropriate in Dallas.
You've said that when you have gone down to Austin before, you've said, we'd like money for a pre-K program. The answer is always, we don't have money. All of a sudden, you walk into this series of meetings, the round table discussions, and they go, we got plenty of money. We can fix your problems.
Well, it was pretty startling that very quickly $120 million became available. They did look at federal resources and other resources, and I think we've set up the T for what's going to happen during the session. In fact, we have some ideas for Senate Bill 1 for some things that we're doing in Dallas that we would like to get reimbursed for. And so we'll see how that plays out whenever the session starts in January.
Right. One of the things you were concerned about, though, unfunded mandates, which is one of the favorite things that the Texas legislature does, which says this is something you must do, figure out how to pay for it.
Yeah, and I'm glad they're sensitive to that. Nothing in this is required. A lot of it's permissive. We'll see where the strings are attached later. We see where the resources are attached later, and we have some interest in some of these initiatives, but where is the money to help pull this off?
School's out. If it's not out in your neighborhood, it will be in the next couple of days. And it's not much time. You think, oh gosh, you have the entire summer to work on these issues. Do you expect to open the next school year with schools markedly, noticeably safer than they were on the last day of school this year?
Maybe not visibly, but what I have done is set a time for all of our principal training in late July, early August to implement some of these intervention initiatives that are popular in West Texas and with the Secret Service. So there are some things that we can do. They're not going to be very visible, but they are going to be protocols and routines and things that we're going to work on. But it won't be a big sea change from the outside.
You've been in the education business long enough and go back to your own days when you were in school. I'm old enough, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, to remember, you know, ducking under the tables, worrying about the Russians attacking our country. What a weird thing to have to drill kids and teachers on these days is somebody coming into the hallways of your school with a gun.
Yeah, in fact, we have it too often. In fact, we go into lockdown quite a bit. If there's a robbery at a neighborhood grocery store, our kids have gone through that. They have to go through that all the time. It is very troubling for some of them the first time they experience it, but obviously they become a little bit callous to it because we do it so often.
Yeah, it really is sad. We'll look forward to see what DISD and many other districts in Texas are going to do. There's a reason they call it independent school districts, because you have to figure it out.
And we do have local control, and we have local priorities that we have to work through locally.
Right. Thanks so much for coming in.